Hey everybody, now we're going to do the drawing for CSWA practice exam, section D, problem 1, this little sheet metal bracket. There's 4 views here, 2 orthographic views, which is straight on views. I have a section view, which is perpendicular to this line, and then we have an isometric view. And I'm going to rip through this pretty quick, so feel free to pause. I just want to spend a lot of your time. So what I'm going to do is have the part open here. And I'm going to go over here and expand the new window and make drawing from part or assembly. If you don't see these sizes, you have to uncheck this box. I like the B landscape view, and make sure you uncheck this display sheet format. You can make it any size you want, but if you choose B, it's going to come out looking with the right proportions. Okay, so now I have the drawing. I'm going to drag and drop this front view. So left click, drag it, release, and then without clicking anything, I move down and click again to create this bottom view. And then to accept that, I click the right mouse button, or I can hit escape. Okay, so I got the first 2 views. We're going to deal with the shading later. It's not really important to me. The next thing we're going to do is create this section view. So I click up here in the drawing tab, I left click section. I have these options, vertical cutting line, horizontal cutting line, and we're going to use auxiliary. If you see these little numbers 1 and 2, those refer to your mouse clicks. So I'm going to make it, well, first I'm going to do it, I'll do it right. So if I click on the midpoint of this one, and then I click on the midpoint of the top one, it'll make that line nice and perpendicular because the midpoints, these are all the same length. So the 2 midpoints, it's going to make a perpendicular line. So I check OK, and then it drops a view here. It looks like it's facing the wrong direction, right? So I'm going to just click flip direction, and that looks good to me. Okay. So if I create a dimension on here, let's see, am I supposed to be in millimeters? Yeah, it looks like it. So I'm going to change my units over here on the bottom right. I'm going to click MMGS. Okay, and that should be 12 millimeters. So if you have a note that says true anywhere in here, that means your sketch is not perpendicular to this edge. And if you see additional geometry in the background, that also means that your section line is not sketch perpendicular. So if you have that problem, in order to fix it, what you have to do is right click here on this section line, right click and hit edit cutting line, and then edit sketch. Okay, so for some reason it puts you into sketch a line mode. You don't want to sketch new lines. Let's see, I have to delete that. My computer froze up for a second. But once you're in this mode, you can just hit escape so you're not creating new lines. And then you can edit this line. You can left click on the line, hit control, left click, and then you can make those perpendicular. Mine, I already know it is because I chose the midpoints. And then when you exit this sketch, you might have to rebuild it. And click this button or hit Control B, and then that should give you the right good looking section view there. Okay, so then you can add all these dimensions. I know you know how to do that, so I'm not going to go through the trouble, right? But we do need to add this other isometric view. It's not important if you're creating these views in order to check all your dimensions, which I advise you do whenever you can. But if you're trying to recreate this view, here's how you do it. If you look in your view palette, it's always out of date, so you always have to hit this little refresh button. If I look at my isometric view, it does not look like the one in this drawing, right? So this one, I can tell, since this is a 45-degree angle, that And this is straight up and down, that this thing has been spun around 45 degrees and then shifted down. So I'll show you how to do that. What we do is we change that in the part file, and then we save that view. So this part file, I want to look at it from this, call it like a front view, whatever that is. So if you choose any of these views, hit spacebar and click any of these views, then you can rotate it 90 degrees by holding shift and then one of the arrow keys. So I'm going to shift and move it down and up, right? So what I want to do is shift it to the left 45 degrees. So every time, if I'm not holding shift, every time I hit the cursor, it's 15 degrees. So 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I got to click on this window. 1, 2, 3. And then it looks like it is about 30 degrees sloped downwards. Don't worry about the dark shadow there. So it looks about right. You can kind of tell like the crescent of that hole is about the same size. If I go down one more, it looks too big. So I'm going to say that's right. I'm going to hit the space bar, and then this little telescope with an asterisk, for whatever reason, means new view. So I'm going to call this ISO isometric drawing. You can name it whatever you want. And then I have this saved view here called ISO drawing. So now if you go back to your drawing, it's the second one here. You go back to your view palette and refresh it. You should see that ISO drawing view. You can drag, just drag that and drop it. Looks good to me. I'm going to click shading here. And then you can shade all these views if you want. I think it kind of makes it harder to see, but that's how it's done. That's it. So all you have to do is add dimensions. I know you already know how to do that. And that's it for this one.